most people fall into advertising, but I had planned my way there. I often say to my team, people don't buy what we do, they buy our energy. Don't think that because things are difficult, you shouldn't do them. For me, and I put this on my Instagram all the time, if it's not challenging, it's probably not worth it. To share learnings with others and help other people grow, I think that was something inherent to who I am. I think for me, success will be seeing that grow and teaching, sharing, inspiring that lesson in the world, learning as I go.
Tell us about your childhood and your favorite memories that you still remember from your childhood.
My childhood was very quintessentially British. I grew up in the south of England, in the countryside. So I grew up surrounded by fields and sheep and cows and nature. And my best memories are definitely with my family. I had phenomenal family structure. And as I said, a very country life, a very quaint life. And we also spent a lot of time in Spain, in the south of Spain, which is where much of my family lives today. So yes, my best memories are either in the countryside in the south of Britain or the south of Spain.
So tell us about your educational background, schooling and higher education.
So I went to school in the south of the UK, to a school called Bedales. I then went on to university, also in Britain, to the University of Birmingham, and I studied marketing and Hispanic studies, which was Spanish and Portuguese. And then from a higher education point of view, I have been in advertising for my entire life. So my education has predominantly been on the job, as I have worked all around the world in the last 15 years and been an expat for 15 years now, learning as I go.
So what was your dream profession as a child?
Oh, I always wanted to be a teacher. Always wanted to be a teacher. And I feel that now I do spend a lot of my time teaching. So even though I'm not a teacher, I definitely feel like I've brought that to life.
Any particular reason to choose to be a teacher in future?
Look, I think even from a young age, I knew I wanted to help people, which is predominantly what I do in my work today. So yeah, I think I had that in my soul. I think I was born to serve others, really. I always knew that. It's come to life in the lens of marketing and also all my work in empathy and through my book. But to share learnings with others and help other people grow, I think that was something inherent to who I am.
So what about your school memory? Any school memory that's notorious in nature that you still remember?
Oh, I don't know if there was anything sort of super poignant I remember from school. I think during university, I got to travel the world a lot with a gymnastic career. So that was something I remember well. But school feels like a very long time ago. I feel like a lot has happened since then.
So what about your hobbies and interests?
Look, I'm a mum, so I love to spend time with my little girl. I love Indian food, so I spend a lot of my time searching out vegetarian Indian food. I also love the outdoors. I love nature. I've recently moved to Sri Lanka, so I spend half of my time in Sri Lanka, and I love to spend our time in nature. I love to spend our time discovering animals and plants and the water. So yeah, most of my hobbies are connected with the outdoor world, being outside, watching the rain. I think that's probably sums it up.
So where did you started your career journey from?
I started in London, actually. I'm one of those rare people that always knew I wanted to be in advertising. Most people fall into advertising, but I had planned my way there. And I started in a big graduate scheme within WPP in London. So my very first job was in a big global agency based out of London in the UK.
So what aspect of your job do you like the most?
Well, teaching, coaching, right? Back to, I guess, my soul. I spend most of my days, whether it's with my team or my clients, predominantly focusing on my two real passion areas. One of them is around marketing and branding, and how we can use brands and marketing to tell stories, to create connections, to better our world in some way. And the other is around understanding, human understanding. So how do we drive better connection? How do we work together better? What does empathy mean in the world? And how do we use that? So my favorite part of my job is, I guess, doing what I do every day, which is working with people and creating connections and telling human stories.
So who is your mentor in life?
can I say my daughter? She's 4 years old, but she definitely keeps me on track, right? So, look, I think I've had many mentors as I've traveled around the world, different jobs, different countries, different people that have stepped into my life and helped me get where I am today. But today, really, my little girl, she kind of keeps me on track. She keeps me focused. She tells me straight up what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. So yes, I think it's within my family.
So what's your definition of success?
I think my definition of success is somewhere between health and happiness for me and my little girl, but also, and really importantly, for all those people that work with and for and alongside me. I want to create one of the world's first businesses that balances humanism and capitalism and really puts the wellness and growth of our people alongside profit and proves to the world that that can be done. So I think for me, success will be seeing that grow and teaching, sharing, inspiring that lesson in the world, that when we truly balance humanism with capitalism, we all grow. So that for me is the definition of success.
So if you get hold of time machine, which phase of your life would you like to roll back?
Oh, none of it. None of it. I would just keep going forwards. If I had a time machine, I'd go forwards. I've had some phenomenal times. I love living in Singapore. I loved living in Hong Kong. But fundamentally, Guarav, I am the happiest I've ever been right now. So I wouldn't change anything. I would stay right where I am.
So as I am also from advertising background, and generally it's been seen that people who are in advertising, basically 50+% of people are accidentally in advertising. But as you told that you have planned your career. So any particular reason to choose advertising?
My dad was an ad man. So if anyone reads my book, Softening the Edge, you'll hear a lot about my father in that book and his impact on me. And he's my hero, and he was an ad man. And I think I just grew up wanting to do what he does. It was a natural choice for me. I'm a very creative person. I'm a storyteller. I wanted to work in an industry that allowed me to work with lots of different people, lots of different brands. I knew I wanted to travel the world. I'm British originally, but was never going to stay there. But fundamentally, I followed in my father's footsteps. And I always say he gave me 2 pieces of advice. The first was don't go into advertising. So clearly I ignored that one. But the second was, if you do go into advertising, go and start your career working on Procter & Gamble brands, which is exactly what I did. And that really did change my life. Their training and their capacity for creative structure, process and thinking changed my career. So yeah, I definitely followed my father.
So what's the difference between work culture of South Africa, Singapore, UAE? So which one is the best to work for?
Look, I think they all have very special traits and differences. I have always loved working in Asia. It's really a passion point for me. I think the speed of change, the appetite for innovation, very hard-working, committed cultures and work cultures. So I am a real Asiaphile. I really enjoy working in the Eastern markets. But between the countries, all of them have different specialisms. South Africa is a very creative country, has a phenomenal talent pool. And of course, the UAE is a city on the move. You can barely keep up with it, right? So you never get bored in the UAE. So yes, I would say all of them are on par, but they all have different sort of pros and cons.
So how has been your journey so far from an account director to chief executive officer?
Hard work. I think hard work and passion. I think, and probably passion more than hard work. I often say to my team, people don't buy what we do, they buy our energy. And I think I have had a quite incessant energy for this career and what we're doing, and the people within our industry. Fundamentally, I work for the people, not for the clients. And that commitment to transparency, honesty, empathy, even from a relatively young age, like I said, as an account director. I think it's the passion for human beings that led me to where I am. I love creativity. I love what we make, but fundamentally I'm doing it for a higher purpose. And I think that's probably what's changed my world.
So what is your definition for clients?
Look, I think they're partners, right? I mean, I think that's something that is really important to me. Fundamentally, we're all human beings before we're any other label, employee, client, customer, whatever it is, right? I spend my life working with people and connecting people, trying to understand people and help them and solve problems for other people. So if I had to define what a client is, I would say it's just another person, right? It's another person that's in our ecosystem. I believe that we're in work to enjoy work. to help each other, to grow together. And I think when that isn't evident, then those are not good client relationships. And that's really what I put front and foremost of all of my work, is finding partners and clients who want to work with us as much as we want to work with them, and creating relationships that are mutually beneficial. And that's not always the case. In fact, it often isn't. And that's something we're trying to do differently.
So tell us about your book, Softening the Edge, and where did you get the idea to author this book?
Yeah, Softening the Edge is a leadership book all around empathy in the workplace, organizational empathy, why the world needs more empathy and what it can do for our businesses. The inspiration from the book is a personal story. You'll see there's a lot of personal storytelling in there. When I took over a business in the Middle East, which needed significant turnaround, and I made a very conscious decision to create that business change with human understanding and empathy at heart. I never planned to write a book. I always say the book wrote me. And the writing of that book really tells the stories that I learned in the workplace, how we do balance humanism and capitalism, and what the impact of that is. What does understanding teams and structures and people mean? And how do we use that both internally or with our clients and customers and partners in order to create growth and inspiration and change? So yes, it was been a phenomenal journey. As I said, I never planned it. Now it's a global bestseller, which is mind-blowing to me all the time. But yeah, it's a book that's inspired by transformation, I think.
So what was the craziest idea you have worked on in advertising?
Oh, the craziest idea. We once created a full game for Horlicks India, also a few other countries, but predominantly Horlicks India, which was a fully animated 13-level game for kids. All around health and growth and nutrition, obviously sponsored by Horlicks. And that was pretty crazy. I think our budget for that was about $1.2 million and took us over a year. And we worked with some of the top gaming companies in the world. We created a trailer for the cinema. We created augmented reality of the characters, all for what is predominantly a consumer health brand. So yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So what was the first brief which you have worked on?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember, but it would have been for Pantene or Pantene, depending on what side of the world you consume that shampoo. But I worked on Pantene, was my first brand. So as I said, I went into work on a P&G role as a graduate, and I worked on Pantene for Western Europe. So it was a huge team with, I think, 15 countries. I can't remember the first brief, but it definitely would have been about shampoo.
So what does awards mean to you?
Oh, they mean nothing to me, literally nothing. I think for lots of people, they're nice. It's a nice thing to have. For me and my agency, we're not really going to enter them. I don't see a role for them in the world today. I don't understand why people are choosing agencies based on awards. I think that there is definitely a position for recognition, but I think how we recognize work should change. And from my agency's point of view, we will enter awards in the world, but not advertising awards. I think we're going to enter awards that can represent change for the humankind, right? Whether that's around diversity, inclusion, change, humanity, right? I understand the need to recognize, and I think we've probably gone beyond the need just to say that was a good piece of work, to actually talk about the people that are creating that work and its impact on the client. So I've won lots of awards. It's always fun, right? The after party is really good fun. So I'm not taking away from that. But I just think the world has changed. And I think that living to have our work recognized by other people from a creative point of view, I feel it's a bit old fashioned.
So how difficult is it to sell out of the box idea to client?
I think it's very difficult if you believe in that and if it strategically makes sense. You know, there's no point selling out of the box ideas for the sake of it. But if you have a really good strategic rationale, so there is really fundamental benefit, even if that benefit is a soft benefit, you know, maybe an intangible benefit, as long as there's a benefit and it can be clearly articulated and you take that to people with passion, I don't think it's that difficult to sell.
So apart from your professional schedule, you are also volunteer in many organizations. So how do you manage your work and life balance?
Do you know what? I said to someone the other day, the more I say yes to, the more time there seems to be in the day. I think that time is quite a perception in our lives, actually. Because for me, it's not really a balance. It's more about choice. But as I said, I feel like the more I say yes to, the more time there is, you know, between being a mum, launching a business, writing my second book, and all the work that comes with that. somehow we still seem to fit it all in. So I think it's about making choices. And then I think it's about putting your passion dead center and following all the things that bring your passion to life. And once you're into that flow, it seems that time just opens up.
So tell us about your show, The Empathy for Breakfast.
Empathy for Breakfast show is just about to finish season 2. It's a podcast that talks to people all around the world about empathy, about understanding, human understanding, connection, communication, and how we can use that to change brands, change businesses, change the world. I started it in my bedroom during COVID, and about 85,000 people came to that first season, which was mind-boggling. And now it's an audio podcast, and we have listeners all over the world.
Best of luck. So what all are do's and don'ts you would suggest while starting your career journey?
Look, I think do follow your passion. Do find the thing that you love and try and make work something that is building other areas of your life. So it's not just a job. Don't give up too easily. Don't think that because things are difficult, you shouldn't do them. For me, and I put this on my Instagram all the time, if it's not challenging, it's probably not worth it. All great change comes from tension. And I think, so just don't give up, try again, find a new way. And if you have a belief in the world, stick with it. Because, when I started on this journey, I never knew if people would come. I now have, tens of thousands of people following that journey. And I stick with it every day. And sometimes it feels like you're talking to silence, but just keep going.
So what are your piece of advice, especially for people who want to join advertising, accidentally and by planning?
I think it's a lifestyle and a life choice. Advertising is a career that's all encompassing. It does come with lots of change, lots of diversity, lots of movement. It's very fluid. So I think it's, again, I feel like I'm saying this in many different ways, but I think it comes back to passion. I think if you're coming into a career that's this creative and this fluid and this transformative, you need to be someone that loves creativity, loves change, likes movement, likes to make decisions fast. It's not corporate. It is a creative journey. And the thing about creativity is that it's always transforming.
So what are the life lessons you would like to share on our show?
I would go back again to the point around sort of taking risk and sticking to your guns, as it were. I've found in the last 2 years, the bigger the risks, the bigger the rewards. It's a massive stereotype, but I have proven in my own life it's true. And I think we give up too easily, generally. It is an incredibly difficult journey to create a new platform, to launch a business. And I think that's been my life advice. Find something that you believe in, that the world needs. It's fundamental. The world needs more empathy. We need more human understanding. There is no debate whether you look at that from the health of our people and the mental health crisis, or the health of our businesses and the Great Resignation, right? We are a broken world. For me, empathy was my passion point. Find yours and stick with it and just keep going on the good days or the bad days. In the end, the more clear you are about what you stand for in the world and what you want to create change in, the more likely you are to be able to manifest that. So that's what I've learned.
So now we will start a rapid round. Your favorite actor and actress?
Oh my gosh, do you know what? I have no idea because I have no time to watch anything.
Your favorite campaign?
My favorite campaign, something for Dove, probably maybe beauty sketches.
Your favorite color?
Turquoise.
Your favorite destination?
Maybe Hong Kong.
Your favorite brand?
Rituals, which is a beauty brand in the Middle East.
Things in your wish list?
My wish list would be for more empathy in the world.
Your dream house?
Something in an Asian city surrounded by lush greenery.
Your second choice of career apart from teaching?
An author, writing.
So at last, one line that defines you?
An optimist.
Thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure talking to you, especially the advice which you have shared for advertising people. Thank you very much for your time.
You're so welcome. I absolutely loved it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.